just because it's animated and I like most animations. Like I like cartoons. Um, what if season three? I'm not sure how I feel about another what if, and they have the Marvel Zombies, which is a spinoff from like I
Yeah,
can't really say it's a spinoff, but it's a continuation of one of the stories
This is spinoff.
originated in. Well, Marvel Zombies is a standalone thing
they
in
did
the
a whole
comics.
series in the comics
Did
on
that
Marvel
need the
Zombies.
whole? Did that need the whole series for it? Were you watching that like, oh, I need more, a whole
Yeah, I,
It's
series
a
worth of
it's
more?
I would say this Marvel Zombies is a very, very, very popular, like
yeah,
it's very popular across consumer products. Like people were begging for us to be able to do Marvel Zombie t-shirts for years and years and years and years.
Really?
And
yeah.
Marvel like kept it under lock and key for a long time. Partially because they knew this episode was coming. When we were able to release Marvel Zombie stuff, it flew off the shelves. Like it's because Marvel doesn't have a lot of like gore horror type stuff that they sell and push all the time. So when they do get something, then those fans do get something in that vein, like they eat it up. So yeah, it's one of those things where it was like when they announced I believe it was the first season of What If that had the
Hmm.
Hmm.
First Marvel Zombies episode, like when they were announcing that to our company, when they were announcing the season, like it was like a huge talking point that they were like, we got a Marvel Zombies episode coming that's gonna go crazy. And like the buyers for the retailers that sell stuff like that were like, we need these designs because we need them on floor for literally the day after this drops on
I mean,
Disney
but I get
Plus.
that it's a novelty, and I get that people want the merch, and I get that, I get that. Is it a season's worth of
It depends
entertainment?
on how long the season is.
It's six
Well,
I'm
episodes worth.
I will say this
Like
Is
also:
There's like a
Marvel
thousand episodes
Zombies.
of The
Oh, there's
Walking Dead.
zombie such and so. Oh, zombie such and such. Oh, there's zombie so and so. We better run.
the
Well,
comic kind of expanded on it a little bit to where they were sort of this unstoppable type force. Like they did add a dimension to it that
Did you like
things
Walking
get
Dead at
out of
all?
control. You know,
Hold on. Did you like Walking Dead at all?
meh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and that's absolutely fine. I was gonna say as a plus side, Marvel Zombies, the comic was actually written by Robert Kirkman.
yeah.
I mean, I get it. I'm not a huge. I mean, unless you do something spectacular with it, like in The Last of Us, give me some story around it. Zombies by
Right.
themselves are not necessarily just like, I
Yeah,
get
I'm the
The
same
Walking
way.
Dead, and I get I get it, but it's kind of like once you've seen a zombie movie, you kind of seen the zombie movies. Like this, there's humans. They're gonna run from the zombies. Somebody's gonna get bit and hide it. Somebody's gonna have to shoot the child at some point. Like
Oh
somebody's
yeah,
gonna let
like
the zombies
like
in.
Hmm. Yeah.
standard
Wash, rinse, repeat.
cliche tropes. Yeah, like there's I won't say
People,
nothing
the humans are
original.
worse than the zombies. Like I get it.
Yeah. And that's what I'm
We're
saying.
the
Like
real monsters.
even man was the enemy all along. Yeah, but I mean, like ultimately, even I'm right there with you. I'm not in an attempt to be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be great. It's I'm saying like we already have what if, which
Right.
is randomness and just like kind of unique stories. Okay,
It's an anthology
here's some
series.
stuff. Yeah, like here's some cool stuff that could be. This is stuff that could have happened. What if this happened?
Let
What
me
if that
say though.
happened?
Let me say, I'm gonna watch it.
Absolutely. It's animated. I'm gonna watch it.
I, I'm
Like
gonna
rest
watch it,
assured.
but I'm gonna mouth my concerns.
It's
Hopefully, while I'm watching, I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. I'm so glad you had me
I'm a,
watch it. Maybe I should rewatch, go back and give The Walking Dead another shot.
no, I don't
Mm.
think it'd be that great. I mean, like I'm gonna watch it with crossed arms, and I'm gonna watch it because it's available and it's on, and that's what we do here. We watch
Crossed
stuff and we
arms.
talk about it.
Mm.
Like, right, like, we go enjoy some cartoons. Damn
There
it,
you
like you
go.
know. But yeah, I mean,
I'm sure it's good. Listen, to be fair, they have put things out that maybe had a slow start for me, or maybe even when I was watching it, I was like, maybe this is not for me, but I get it's entertaining. It's not like I haven't watched the thing yet that made me be like, this sucks. I'm gonna turn it off and not watch
just
the
not finish
rest.
it. Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
with you there. And like I said, of the animated stuff, I'm more interested in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and Eyes of Wakanda. I mean, obviously those two I think are going to be the standout in terms of their animation. Um,
So
this is
is
kind
Tom
of
done with Spider-Man? Are they are they going to do another Spider-Man now?
Who?
Tom
Tom Holland.
Holland?
I
No, he's
Yeah,
coming
it's
back. He just
slated.
signed a
yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Spider-Man 4 is already slated.
I
Yeah,
thought I
they
saw something where he said he was done with the character and didn't want to do it anymore. So I didn't know.
He's
I
getting
think the
paid. It's on the. I mean,
I think
it's
that
been
was before
announced.
Uncharted didn't do what he thought it was gonna do.
now I think the last article I saw was Tom Holland will only return to Spider-Man under one condition, and the condition was like it just needs to make sense.
Well, the last week
Is that
articles came out where he was talking about how he's been like able to be kind of a fly on the wall while Kevin Feige and the other team has been planning out the like next phase of things, and he
Okay.
wanted to be kind of involved in the evolution of the Spider-Man story. So he's been heavily involved in like planning the story and how the character is going to
Okay.
move forward. And they just released an article, I think, that said it's slated to start filming in 25. And I think it's supposed to
Oh,
come
that's
out in
good. I
26.
like him. I
July
like him. I
2026.
was getting nervous
Okay.
because I really do like Tom Holland, and I don't necessarily. I'm not ready for another Spider-Man.
well
I was
Definitely
the
like,
not.
oh, is this the animated? Are they introducing this because he doesn't want to do it anymore? Or okay, that
no no
makes me
I
feel better.
with this one, the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, this is actually think of this as like Spider-Man year one. This is before he has like an official Spider-Man suit because in the teaser they have him in like the sweats, kind of like what we see when he's
So
starting.
this is before Tony Stark comes to the house in
Right,
Civil War.
right. This is
Okay.
kind of that how he got his start because of course he even talks about I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and you know that's pretty interesting. Now they do have some. They got some talent in the voice casting. Just looking at what they've got there, and they've got Coleman Domingo. That's going to be your Norman Osborn. Charlie Cox shows up as Matt Murdock. So okay, got some.
Hmm.
Paula Tompkins. Okay,
It's
so I was just reading about the show. Well, first of all, it's an alternate universe where Norman Osborn becomes Peter Parker's mentor instead of Tony Stark. Two, the show was created by Jeff Trammell or Trammell. I don't know how you say it. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he was the showrunner for Craig of the Creek for most
Okay.
of the
Oh, I love that
seasons.
show.
well, that just
So,
became my
Well,
favorite show right there.
yeah.
Right.
Sold,
So
I really
sold.
like that show.
yeah, so
Okay. Well, never.
I think that knowing that because I mean I follow him on Twitter. We've interacted a few times or whatever. The attention to detail, and I think like even if you go back and watch Craig of the Creek, like the episodes that are like based on other things, like when they have the Sailor Moon references, all the different anime references. They had an episode that was like a cooking competition show,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the way that they approach like creating a world and and using humor to even subvert the things that are happening in that world make me very confident about them not just creating a Spider-Man show that is just Spider-Man focused. I think for me, I'm much more of a fan of like teams. That's why I was a big X-Men person. I was a big Justice League person over like the individual cartoons. I like environments. I like what they've kind of been doing with Spider-Man, where he's got like his friends who like kind of know who he is. The last Disney cartoon they did, it was like a team of Spider kids eventually by the end of that show. And I think that Jeff Trammel's strength is creating like a world where all the characters have a space and they all like fit in. Like it kind of makes me feel like I'm curious about who these other people are going to be because like in the clip we see Peter try to do a trick. It hits a kid in the head with a brick, and we see like other characters like pop up on the screen, and I'm like, oh, I wonder who they are. But with Spider-Man, a lot of times I feel like he's just swinging over everybody, all the regular people, just to
Yeah.
fight like the bad guys in the costume. And I feel like that element of Spider-Man being like a man of the people in like a neighborhood, like Spider-Man first. Whereas it was great not to have to relive all the Uncle Ben trauma. We kind of skipped
Yeah.
that with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So I
Yeah.
think it'll just be interesting to see how Disney approaches that Spider-Man.
Got some interesting character list here as far as the villains, the heroes, or the friends, if you will.
You know how people talk about like secret, like white people who are secretly black? Norman Osborn.
Oh, he's
That's
definitely
Shamar
black.
Moore.
Been
He got
passing
the
the
finger
whole time.
waves.
That is Shamar Moore. Stop playing.
He is
Back in the
spinning.
Young and the Restless days.
Then, of course, Spider-Man. So, a couple of variations of the costume, or maybe those are alternate dimension Spider-Man, or whatever the case. It should be interesting. There's Peter and friends getting some. What was that show?
Recess.
Nah,
Recess.
I thought
Daria.
Recess too.
MTV.
Daria.
Daria.
Oh yeah.
Daria.
Like with these very specific character designs. Got our list
Yeah,
of
I think with like the character design, I was a little like, I don't know at first. I'm not a big pause, heavy stroke person when I look at animated art, which is like the thickness of the outside line.
Mhm.
right.
I know I knew that was gonna sound crazy before I got to explain what heavy stroke is.
You
So
gave a pre-pause,
just,
so you good. You good.
Um
No Diddy. Go ahead.
but like I don't know if you guys have you guys seen the new Crisis on Infinite Earth movies?
The movie. Yeah.
The art style on those movies is so it's like
Yeah.
but the art style is not the stroke is too thick. Pause. Like I just can't deal with that. And
I watch a guy on YouTube. Shout out to him. His name is Tunerific Tyreek, and he talks about that kind of like the art style of the cartoons, not
yeah,
just breaking down the cartoons. So I know what you mean. I never noticed it before I started watching him, and now I'm like, oh, I see. Yeah, no, it's
yeah,
I see what you mean.
yeah. It's kind of like why, as much as I found Archer hilarious, sometimes I'm just like, I can't watch this, man. This looks like somebody just took a fat marker around the outside of the drawing, which works in graffiti and different things, but I just feel like just make it better.
Is that like one of those things where it's easier or cheaper to do it that way
I
as an
think it's a
animator,
I
or
think
is
it's
it
a
just a style?
I think
The
it's a
style.
style thing, and but I do think it's a style thing that's becoming more and more heavily seen now because a lot of the people who are now in the industry have been digital their whole lives as far as
Mhm.
being artists. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
for people my age, we started on paper unless your parents were insanely rich and you maybe had a computer that might have had Microsoft Paint on it, and even if it did, you weren't able to make anything like
For
good
real.
with
What
that.
you wanted.
It's like we're dealing with a bunch of kids who have been alive. Like Photoshop has been around their entire life. You know what I mean? So
They're
they have a
starting on
different
Blender.
yeah, they have a different approach, and I think that comes through in the art. And there's sometimes where I like it, but I think that there are things you miss. I think when you don't do any sort of traditional art training, and I do think that like understanding that like all of your strokes do not have to be the same size, heaviness, like you like but that's because I'm from the like self taught Jim Lee's school of art, where when you look at his art, he's using a brush pen, and so his line has like different tones to it. He makes the line disappear at different point. You know what I'm saying? It's not this, you know what I'm saying? It's just got more personality to it, in my opinion. Um
Okay.
I think that it makes for nice, clean art, which is probably a lot easier to animate and a lot faster, so we can get more shows faster. But I do think that there's times where I'm like, I wish, like, I don't know. Sometimes it's just something. Sometimes stuff feels a little bit off. I was looking at that in this, and it's pretty like flat color. So I'll be interested to see how they like handle like action and more things than just like a brick hitting somebody upside the head. But
Right.
yeah, I think like that kind of brings me to a point that I was going to bring up earlier that I want to talk about with the animation. I find it interesting that Marvel is doing multiple like animation styles when they generally like to keep things very like cohesive, and I'm kind of curious as to where they're going to go in terms of animated style. The Spider-Man show definitely feels like it's skewing towards younger audiences, so I totally understand why that looks and feels the way that it does. Now
Right.
we kind of have this what if universe that's the 3D cell type
Yeah.
animation style that they've been doing for what if. The Wakanda show is going to be like that, which I'm interested in. I think that backstory sounds cool. The zombie is going to fall in there. But
See, I have to double check because I feel like the Wakanda one does look like it has a slightly different art style than the What Ifs. The What Ifs and the
I
zombies are
mean,
going to look the same. Yeah.
it's slightly different, but it's still coming from that kind of mostly computer animated
Yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely
side
computer
of
animated.
things.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely computer animated.
The one that I'm curious about how they're going to start integrating is that X-Men 97 style.
Yeah.
Because they showed that those all those cameos of all those characters, and they were teasing us nice with, you know, here's Daredevil, here's this guy, here's that guy, here's Spider-Man. And I'm just curious if that's just going to be an X-Men thing, or if that is also going to have its own offshoot. Because I'm sure once they start doing like more kids shows, which I think unfortunately, you know, for like Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur had a completely different art style from what they're doing on this Spider-Man show. So if they want to have any potential for crossover, all the shows kind of have to like fall in line artistically. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm just curious, like in terms of like how they're building those universes, what is going to be the determination for like the art style and the tone of the animated sector? Because DC, after releasing these three movies, looking the way that they looked, I am not ready to just hand them the animated comic crown anymore like we've done in the past. Yes,
Right.
they've done some great things in terms of Justice League. A lot of those movies in that series are very good, but in my opinion, some of the latest movies, in terms of how they look, how they feel, not up to snuff to what they have been putting out before. And when I look at what if season 2, X-Men 97, I've enjoyed what I'm getting so far from Marvel Animation. And I think like this next year with what they're putting out, we might have to have like a serious conversation. We're gonna have to have a serious conversation about DC anyway. I know everybody don't want to do it because everybody not
DC
DC
got to have
people, but
look. Even I'll say DC has to have something worth talking about because the
okay.
Batman
There it
Reba
that'll be
is.
for another
McEntire.
conversation.
Well,
That'll be for another
let's give him
conversation.
something
There
to
it
talk
is.
about.
Mm.
So we and I would be happy to hop on that conversation. Obviously, I will. I love it.
Do something,
Um,
DC. We want to talk about y'all.
would love to, but I
Like poking it with a stick.
There you go. You gotta put that image up there. You
yeah.
know, hey, do something.
But for real, I don't even want to get into that. Let's stick with Marvel because
Yeah. We'll come back another day for a DC conversation. Today is
things
about the
that I've seen, I was
2025
like,
slate. So we appreciate you watching this video. This has been the Marvel Studios 2025 slate. All the TV shows and movies that are coming to Disney Plus and to theaters. Let us know in the comments which one you're interested in. Are you interested in Spider-Man? Is Ironheart going to be your favorite? Or are you more interested in Wonder Man? Maybe one of the movies or something we didn't mention. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us everywhere you can find Grown A Geeks. Join our Facebook group and be a part of the conversation. We thank you for watching this video. For Jeffrey, RG, Teresa, Brandy, I'm Elder Geek Sam, and we are out of here. Peace.